Really?
Oh, fuck it. Hold on. It's got the catalogue. We've got the position. We're set up, haven't we?
Yeah.
I was born in Bermondsey, Pickwick House, George Road, on the Dickens estate. In my 72 years now, I've lived half of my life on the Dickens, and the other second half of my life I've lived down there where we are now, in downtown Rotherhithe, Surrey Docks. My mum done everything. She worked with Shuttleworths for quite a while, but she mainly done jobs as a dinner lady, as we called them, dinner lady, or a cook over at St Michael's School on the Dickens estate.
What about your dad?
His dad, he worked himself all his life, very hard worker, worked 7 days a week, and he was self-employed roofer and done work all over the place, and that was his job title, yeah. My first school was Riverside School, which is in Farkham Street, on the Dickens estate, so it was 100 yards from where I was born.
Did you like school?
I enjoyed it, yeah. I did enjoy it, yeah. It was when you first go there at 5, it's playtime, isn't it? And as you get older, it gets a bit more serious. But I didn't mind it. Everyone there, obviously we all knew, we all mucked in. We played games together, football together, cricket, whatever. And it was good days, yeah.
What lessons did you like?
I wouldn't really call them lessons. It was always sport I enjoyed, and I was pretty good at English and spelling and things like that. And even then, the later days of the school, when I was sort of 10, 11, I liked history, especially local history. Always interested me, and geography to a certain degree, yeah.
What was the games you played when you played out on the estate?
Again, I wouldn't say there was games. You had Tin Tan, Tommy, all them type of games, but it was more about, to be honest, getting up to mischief. Always around the docks. The docks is 100 yards away, right back onto the docks, and just getting into the warehouses and getting up on the roofs and swinging across on the chain, being daredevils. Who's going to bottle out, swinging across on the chain onto the barges. And once you got on the barges, when you got a little bit older, you realised there was things in there you could eat, or you could nick to sell. So you're on that sort of light slope, a good slope in a way of life learning, to in that area. So it was, and that was every single day of the week. But just make sure you don't come home with Thames mud on your shoes, because the old man would have you, because he knew it was different type of mud. Back then there was obviously hop picking in the older generation, but we used to go to Coomhaven, St Leonard's, Hastings. A lot. My nan had a caravan down there. It was a bit rickety, but it was getting away from Bermondsey just for a week. It was brilliant. They had a big clubhouse, and then we'll all be out the clubhouse and that. And there was Butlins as well, and Butlins we done down that way, and also as we got older, we started going to Minehead in Somerset, which for us was 1,000,000 miles away from Bermondsey, getting the forest and the woods and all that. Always liked doing that, but there was great days, terrific days.
Was there a family car?
The family car, yeah. My dad had, yeah, and my uncle Tommy Cornish. We should go. My uncle Tommy Cornish, my dad's brother, lived across the road from us. We moved from Pickwick House to Tupman House when it was built in 1960. Tommy and Flo already moved into Avisham House that had been built first, and Tom was the TRA chair of the Dickens Estate Tenants Association for many, many years. He was also a Labour councillor in the area, and but we lost him through cancer many years ago, when he just started becoming a councillor in the area. But he ran the Dickens estate with Flo in the tenants hall there, and they were fantastic days, you know.
What was your second school?
Second school was Paragon. I was wanting to go to Tower Bridge because, to be honest, it was nearer, and put Paragon down as a second choice. But ended up, I didn't get in at Tower Bridge, and I had mates going to Tower Bridge as well. We ended up accepting Paragon. To me, it's the wrong side of the Old Kent Road, and I'm thinking it's going to be full of roaders. But I went there. It weren't as far as we think. You could walk if you wanted to, but you had a couple of buses. You could get a number 4 or 188, and or you'd hang off the back of a lorry. There were what we called York lorries. They had a bar across the back, and when they put up at the lights, we'd jump on. If there's planks of wood hanging off the back, we'd hang on the planks of wood, and we'd get as far as we could, say down to Tower Bridge before jumping off, and then get another lorry that's pulled up with the lights and jump on the back and go down to Paragon at the Bricklayers Arms.
And you had some good prime mash shops for dinner time, didn't you?
Oh, you had the choices. Oh, I prefer Joyce's, to be honest. And you could stand a fork up in the bowl of the liquor in Joyce's, but it was a bit lumpy but thick. And everyone says about the fella that ran it and his wife, about, I don't want to say this, the old Jew dropped on his nose over the thing. It was always be hanging, and you're thinking, I hope that don't drop in the one that I want. And everyone used to laugh about it. But you ended up, you thought it was a bit of parsley in the liquor, and it was just some of the sawdust up of the floor. So you used to worry about that as well. If the wind blew the doors open, you'd end up with that in your liquor.
What about secondary school? Did you like that?
I did like it, yeah. Got well into sport. We had a good PE teacher, Mr. Roper, and we had a fella that taught us how to play cricket really for the first time. We didn't play a lot of that when we was in junior school, but we used to have competitions, football competitions in the playground. We had 4 houses. From memory, they was Gainsborough, Shackleton, Tennyson and Faraday. Then was red, blue, green and yellow changed over. But they would always have you in competition. I love competition in sport. I just love it. It brings the best out of me. But we'd have that in the playground every day, and then up winning some trophies. And Mr. Cameron, he knew he was the hardest teacher in the school. He should find the life out of us. But when you look back, when you get older, you think, he was the best. He was the best. So it was about sport and music. I always liked music. Sports, big part of my life, massive. Most of my friends are through sport throughout my lifetime. Competitive sports, but obviously football, the main player. But cricket was always in me, but it didn't come out in me until later in life when I started playing with some pretty good cricket teams as well, and some good footballing teams in the area, well-known footballing teams. So that's a big part, and if you call it sport, fishing, always loved me fishing from an early age.
And what was the teams you played for?
The teams I played for, early days, was CUM, Cambridge University Mission in Marine Street, Old Jamaica Road. Fantastic club. Taught you right from wrong as well. It weren't just about turning up and playing football. You had Mac, Spencer, and the wonderful teacher there, Snowy Duval, who taught us right from wrong. You had the prayers in the midway, made people just get back out and do the thing. But they had other things in there that they even had in the CUM in the basement, a rifle shooting area where you went down in the basement. You had to pay, I think, a penny for 12 shots, and you'd go down there in this long dingy basement, and you'd crawl onto a sack, and they'd give you a target, and you'd pin it into this little wind up thing, and you'd wind it away from you until we got to the end, and you'd take your shots, very competitive again with others. There's 4 of you down there all doing the same thing. The rifles was crap, to be honest. They was crap.
What was that? Air rifle?
Air rifles, yeah, but it's quite powerful, and you got the pellets. You do your shots and you wind it back, and obviously you do your marks, and if you won it, you go, yeah, get in there, like that. But they were good rifles, and some of them, the handles went like that, but yeah, that was good, all different stuff. But you had your pole and your snooker as well.
So what was you going for the head or for the heart?
On what?
With the shots?
Oh, no, it was just a target.
Oh, was it?
Just,
Oh, like
just a
bullseye.
target, like a bullseye.
I thought that was like in the police
Had
films.
the point, no. Had the points.
Harry.
He had the points on it, you know, from 5 to 10 or whatever it was. But getting the right rifle was, we make a little nick on one of the handles, knowing that it was fairly accurate compared to the others, you know. So we even got in competition, we'd try and cheat one another, you know. That was good days.
Did you go to any other youth clubs?
Yeah, was at Fisher for a while, playing football. You had the Oxford and Bermondsey and the city around Cambridge University Mission, where the money come from them, from the big universities and that. But Fisher was with them not long. That's when I was probably my best at football, to be honest, but never made it to the top. But played in a good standard football. From Fisher, ended up playing for Dickens estate right the way through this. We was a fantastic team, got unbeaten for 2 years. And but on the big football was ended up being asked to go and play for Charterhouse down Long Lane. My brother-in-law played for them, and he said, "Why don't you come play with us?" And we was going out drinking a lot, and not football in the head for a little while. But he said, "Come and anyway." Went down there, played with Charterhouse, fantastic club, again brilliant club, some unbelievably good footballers. But the good thing about it was there was a lot of mates from Paragon School who lived out Long Lane, that area, and they were down there and already there. So I'm going in there, I've got mates around me again, you know. And we played in a good standard of football, but it was more of a mates standard. But we weren't easy to beat. And they had the elder club in there with likes of Georgie Wakeling, Peter Debman, Jimmy Wand, all those. They were top players, and they taught you, when you think you're good at football, when you go up to that next level, you think, oh, I've got to do a lot more here to start. So you learn and play with them. And so you had that at Charterhouse, and when Charterhouse folded, I think it was about 23, they a club in Towbridge Road found a brilliant club in Webb Street, which was the Stansfield, Oxford and Bermondsey. Got Beverly involved with them. They snapped up, I think 5 of us, myself, Alan Easter, Peter Dale, Stevie Murray, and 1 or 2 others, and to join them because we folded. And that was more of an higher standard of football, playing all over Kent, you know, against Lydd, as far as at Beerstead, Sutton United and things like that. So it was a good standard of football.
Did you stay on school but through exams or left it?
No, I left when I was 15. The only real thing I was excelled at school was average right the way through, to be honest. The only thing I excelled at, without a doubt, is metalwork. I felt very comfortable doing metalwork, and always, even then again, turned into competition. When I've done all my set pieces with Mr. Miller, who was the metalwork teacher, that was in an annex of the school out in the playground. He used to say to me, you're going to, you're doing this, you're doing that. He said, I know you're enjoying it, but do you want to do something different? So he let me do what I wanted to do rather than the set thing. And I think I've got one over there. The first one I've done, being a Spurs supporter, believe it or not, is a cannon. I'll see a picture of a cannon. I made myself a cannon, and it's still there to this day. I've still got it over there. So 60 odd years later, it's still there, and it's still in good shape. And he liked that sort of thing where you're designing your own things and making your own thing. And it went on to really do me a big thing in later life when I got my first jobs, you know. Was before I started my apprenticeship, which I really signed up for, or to come on to, is there was work going down Christian's Wharf, Shag Thames, and the St Saviour's just further down. Obviously knew it like the back of my hand. That's where we used to play, swinging on the cranes and that when we was younger. And it was, he was working in Christian's Wharf. It was me, Becky Arif, and Johnny Ash, my best man at my wedding. We went there. We got £10 a week, 5.5 day week, 6 Saturdays as well. We didn't know what to do with it. £10. We honestly had never seen a tenner. So we went down there. But what it was then, it was all cardboard coming in on pallets on a forklift. And what we had to do, we had a machine, which was a guillotine they could move the guillotines round to make different shapes for different clients. Say it was an egg boxes or something like that. But these sheets were coming in, they're quite big cardboard sheets. You used to have to pick them up, no gloves or nothing at the time. They had a safety guard that went across the machine. You had your foot on the pedal. Your mate was the other side, who was Becky Arif, or Johnny Ash. Yeah, your mate on the other side. You push that down, you got it going like a routine. The guard would come down, then it lift up, you slide in the cardboard, you take your foot off, push the other lever down, and it comes down, steam come out the side of it, and then someone would take it off the other end and put it on the pallet the other side, pull it, and it would go into a box, the shape of a box. It would fold up and do this. We'd done it all day, obviously unbelievably boring, but the foreman there was Brian Spearpoint Shaker, we called him, come out of Janeway Street, so he was our boss, and he was our mate as well, so he had quite a good number there. And so that was a good start, but I knew that I'd already signed up to become an apprentice, because I had an uncle that was working for a company called Bermondsey and Sons, based in Wigmore Street, just off the back of Oxford Street. And now I'm getting a tenner in my hand, right? That was as a few quid. Right? I think the pint was about 1 a night. It's a light and bitter then, in the pub just down the road, the Locklear stores. And we done that. I knew that was coming, and I didn't really want to do it because I knew the money was going to be a drop.
What was the apprenticeship in?
The apprenticeship was in a pipe fitter welder, 4.5 year apprenticeship. Anyway, that came after I started. But when I left there, dashed it on a tenner, going down Thomas at Beckett or the Fleece down Law Street, Freddie London's pub as youngsters. They had stabbed a cockle in their pocket. I started on 1 a night, was 80 an hour, and it went up to 2 and fourpence after 2 months. And I'm on 5-6 quid. So when we're going out, they're going out trying to pull the birds and that, and they're going, don't worry about my mate over there, we'll get him a pint. So I felt a little bit. But my old man, God rest his soul, what he did say to me, I'll never get it, he said, you'll have a job for life, so it's the same mould as him, you'll have a job for life, but they'll still be on a tenner. They might go get 11 quid, right? But give it, he said 2 years later, 3 years later, when you've done your apprenticeship, you'll be on 20s, right? I went, 5 years? Them days, you think 5 years times, it's 500 years away, isn't it? Who cares about 5 years? I want it now. And he went, so you're going to stick with it. So I went down to, done the introduction down at Wigmore Street in front of the company boss. A bit regimental, to be honest. And they said, what, you're going out with everyone on the firm, all in their 60s, all proper tradesmen, you know, man and boy. You know, they had their grease on when they'd done their tie up with the same, they had the grease on their ties on, I think their ovals, on the shirt on, you know, with a cap on. But they taught me more in 6 weeks than you could learn in a year as an apprentice. Then after a short amount of time, they said you've got to go and do your college work, which I've done 2 years at Croydon, and I've done another 2 at East Croydon. I don't even know if it's still there. 2 years at East Croydon, and when that was finished, that was me fitting. And I've done 2.5 years welding at Rotherhithe, which is just trains from London Bridge ready to get out there. And so even still the money weren't great doing that, but in the end, unbelievably good decision by the old man. and myself sticking it out for 4.5 years. The money did go up. It got up to the rate of my mates, then it went past them, and the rest is history.
Did you ever have other jobs? Or was that it?
No, I've had 2 jobs in my entire life. If called what I call jobs. I had that. I was with that company for 24 years. I've always stayed loyal. If I like, that was never thought we'd leave. Worked my way up to be a foreman on the company, and then obviously there's been recessions come and go, as you know, and then the recession came. They folded, Benham and Sons, and when they folded, I had to go out there and look to do some work. This is in the early 90s. There's another recession, and work my own business. And me and a mate, he's now gone past, Stan Adler's, fantastic bloke, taught me everything. We go around and buy contracts off of people, and we do the job but it was good to a degree, but you're chasing people for money all the time, but there was no work about, so you had no choice. Then for 2 years, because there was absolutely no work about, I ended up getting a job out in Cornish in Shelhaven in Essex on the oil refinery. Very skilled job, what we call steam tracing. All the boats are coming down the Thames, they pull up in Cornish, hundreds and hundreds of people. It'd be like being in the army. I really didn't like that, being like regimental. But if you had to, because of health and safety, you got an hydrocrack. If it went off, it'd blow half of Essex up. Not bad things, but anyway. And but there was nothing about. There was all the fellas that worked there, all fallen out of Essex, all West Ham supporters, all from out of Essex. So we had, in the end, you got to know one. You had a laugh, but it paid the mortgage. It paid the mortgage, and so I had 2 years of that. It was ill, but the money was good. Because as the ships come in with the crude oil, it goes into an hydrocrackers. They're as big as 20-story blocks of flats. Lots of heat, superheated heat. Very dangerous work. If everything you do is all ticking boxes and all health and safety wise. And then it goes from the crude oil, which is like tar, into different refined, different viscosity oils through pipe systems all over the place, going away on tankers. Some will go to petrol. There's oil in plastic bottles. There's oil in this here. There's oil in this settee, it goes in different ways. And you'd be surprised how much but it was very health and safety orientated. But again, you learnt a trade out there, and all these fellas have been there for 25, 30 years doing that specific trade. The steam tracing we done, the pipe work, the pipes you could walk down, that's how big the pipes were. But they could not allow to drop in temperature, because if crude oil does drop, it can go solidify, and it's a major millions of pound job to clean it all out again to get it back to, because a lot of these are stainless steel pipes, and so that's the situation with that, with the oil. But we got through that, come away from there. Then I was working with my mate Stan, who's older than me. He's now passed, Stan, God rest his soul. And so we went around buying contracts from all over the place, and we done very well. Yeah, so we had that phase of my life. We were out there actually doing it with my hands, building it, welding, boiler houses, chiller plant rooms, big stuff, And just by chance, I was back out working back at Heathrow on these big, massive air handling units out there. And the fella that had the agency, he said, "Look, we got a bit of a changeover. We've got no work for a couple of weeks." I said, "Don't worry about it. I've earned some good money." I said, "Don't worry about it. Leave it." I said, "I'll come back to you later." He said, "No, I want you there. You know the job now." I said, "Listen, I'll have a couple of weeks off. I might even go away for a week, and you give me a bell, yeah?" So he went. He said, "No problem." But then a mate of mine, John over the road, he said, "Why don't you shoot down to Albion Road, down the road there, where the jobs centre, and get them to pay your stamp?" I said, "I can't be much about with that. I can't leave it. I'm going. He said, but you're paying into it, you know, you might as well get it. I think it's about 20 quid. So I'm sitting in the garden, I thought, well, I'll have it. I goes down there and walked in there, and there was 2 queues. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but anyway, there was 2 queues. I got down to this fellow eventually, and he said to me, yeah, what can I do for you? I went, I want you to pay me stamp. He went, have you filled out the B1493 form? I went, no mate. Anyway, he said, well, someone should have told you. I said, mate, listen, I've never been out of work for 24 years. All I wanted is to pay me stamp. So they both looked at one, I think, we've got a bloke here in the queue who's been at work for 24 years. What's going on here? So he went, well, you've got to fill it out, mate. And he threw it at me. It had about 300 pages. They want to know what you've had for breakfast. So I went, oh, mate, listen, forget it. I said, I'm not interested. I want to get up. And the fellow who was doing the second queue, it looked like John Lennon, big long hair and little round glasses. He went, the fellow just said he's a pipe fitter welder, got a class 1 welding certificates, and he's got an advanced fitter's ticket. 24 years experience, and I had a go at him, he was younger than him. And he went, the job that just gone up on the, you know, the turned things you get, where you turn them around and got cards in. He said, just gone up this morning, I told you about it. He went, oh right then. I went, well, what are you talking about? Anyway, he went and got it, and it was, a job came up, working as an engineer over at Reuters, it's now Thomson Reuters, at Canary Wharf. So I thought, I ain't going to get this job because it's going to be someone who's, you know, it's a good job. It's someone who's been a maintenance engineer for years, you're going to get it. I ain't got that. I'm out there doing it, building it, rather than maintaining it. And the fellow on the other queue, he come over, he said to me, let me take this over. He said, what's the phone number on the card? And he phoned up this fella. Obviously, all I could hear was him on the phone. And he turned around and went, but he's asking me questions, what have I got, where do I live, how long have I worked, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, mate, can't you give me the phone? And I spoke to him, went, yeah, go on then. I spoke to him, sound like right, ordinary fella. And he said, oh, come in. He said, I'm interested in you. He said, you got City and Guilds? I said, yeah, it's up in the attic. He said, you get hold of it. I went, yeah. I said, is it worth it? He went, don't you believe it? Get your City Guilds here. I'll see you in the morning. Went with a job interview. Always remember this, always go for a job interview. Always take it. If you don't get it, don't matter. But always take it, you get experience. Goes in there, straight away, he's an ordinary fella. Ordinary fella. I've got to tell this story. But he's sitting there and he's doing the interview and he's got a West Ham badge on his lapel, on his coat, on the chair. So he's gone to me, this, that and the other. What do you do? You know, I said, like fishing. Try to do all the thing, nice, easy thing. I'm an easy going bloke with a kid, you know, little young daughter. And he went, okay. He said, how about football? I said, yeah, I'm well into football. He said, what team do you support? I went, oh, West Ham. I said, 100%. I said, yeah. He went, really? He went, I'm well. I said, you're joking? He went, no. So I rattled off all the old more, and I knew them anyway, because I rated them. And he went to him, and all of a sudden, he wants to be my mate. I thought he was going to take me for a pint. And so, anyway, that came back and hit me a bit later. But anyway, done the interview. He said, look, I've got another 5 interviews today. I thought, that's it, I've wasted my time here. And he said, but I am interested in you. All right? And he said, but anyway, I went home. My missus said to me, that fella's just phoned up. He wants you to go back to Heathrow Airport. I faked, I'm going to go out there. And I said, mate, I'll be out there tomorrow morning. 8 o'clock, I've got to get in that traffic there, come by and go. So one thing led to another. And this fella said about the next thing you know, I went there for the next day out of Heathrow, coming home in the rain and that thing. And she turned around, she said, that fella from Reuters, it's a global data centre. They've got servers in there as big as football pitches, like floors and floors of it. And you've got to keep these servers cool, and that's my job, to maintain the temperature. They collect, anything goes wrong with them, they seize up. They lose millions and millions and millions of pounds. So there's all backup systems, battery backup systems and everything. So it was a little bit different than what I thought. Let's go for it. Went in there, had the interview, a second interview. He brought a fellow in to take me around to do the physical stuff when we would talk me around. he was from Rotherhithe, the fella, and he was one of us, if you know what I mean. And I think I'm going to have all chalk white suits in there and all that going. And he turned round and we took him when he come back. He looked at the governor and he went like that. He went, and this is the truth. A little fella, only little, but a nice bloke. Dave Tingling, his name was. He turned round and said, "Got one more question." I thought, "Oh, heavy," because you asked me a right technical question. I went, "Okay, far away." He went, "Do you drink?" I went, "Ooh." I said, "I don't know how to answer that, mate." He said, "Just tell me the truth." I said, "Yeah, I like a drink." He said, "I'll see you at 8 o'clock in the morning." That's what he said to me. I went, "Wait," he said, "I'll see you at 8 o'clock in the morning." I found out when I started, but when I went in I was really blind. But the beauty, and this is to any youngster, always go to the job interview. And number two is, if you go to a good company, like big companies like Reuters, massive, world-renowned company, they train you up. You go in there thinking, "Oh, these people are clever." It don't take long, but you feel like they ain't that clever. I'm as clever as you. I can do things that you can't do. And if you had that attitude, you'll always get on like. Started there and I was there for 22 years. I've got a fantastic pension from there. When in there, they sent me on courses. I had to do a fireman's course, proper fireman's course. Because if there was fires in there, we had to get in and do electrical switching. And you had to have someone going to fire brigade. Well, no, if you've got electrical fire, it's massive. And the message is a data centre with all backup systems, so it'd be catastrophic. And one thing led to another. And you got 3 electricians on shift and 1 mechanical, and I was the 1 mechanical. So they train you up and you become a technician rather than a pipe fitter welder. So it's always the metalwork side of it and getting certificates. I've always done it, and I'm reaping the benefits now. Now I'm retired. You don't think of it at the time, but it was good pension schemes, private pension schemes.
And easy to get to.
Well, I've been on car parking space. I was there in. I was there.
Drive? I would have just started.
No, you could. Oh, yeah, I'm going back 25 years ago.
There.
And so it was a case of basically out of here, car parking space here, which you don't get no more. Drive over there. I'm there in 10 minutes. Guaranteed I can be there in 10 minutes. Now, what jobs is done, you can guarantee that. Park up there, straight in there. I'd get in early because the other shift, because it's shift work, the other shift are coming in. They live out, a lot of them live out in Essex, right out, Basildon and further off. I'd get in early so they could get away because they've been on the night shift. So they go, "Oh, cheers." Instead of getting in dead on 7:30, I'd get in sort of like half an hour early and they'd get up and they'd shoot and they'd go bump and they'd do me a favour. So you do that little, if I wanted to go football or something, they'd say like, "I'll be in early for you tomorrow night," yeah? And we had that game. It's terrific, fantastic.
What's the best job you ever had?
The best job I had, and it's fate, is after I'd done all that work and we had the, working for a company for 24 years, then when the recession came, having to make do and take anything that came, but still learning trades as you do. Then, just by a complete chance, I won't go into all the detail, but I had a job working at Heathrow Airport doing the air handling units. I'd worked there previously, doing the Concord hangars with Benhams and Sons, doing them back in the early 70s, on the Concord hangars. But this company, because there was nothing about it, was an agency. They contacted me and said, "We got some work back at Heathrow, and I know how bastard job it is to get out there and back, So I took it, and I was there for a few months. And I came home one day, just by chance, knackered, and coming back from down the M4 from Heathrow and all that was getting to me, but there's nothing else. And then from that, we ended up moving from obviously down where we was on the Dickens, down to here in downtown after we bought the house down here. Yeah.
So, when you started getting a few quid, what was the pubs and clubs you used to go in?
Oh, back then, when I first met my missus was back in the early 70s. That was down, Thomas and Beckett was the live music during the week. We'd go down, and when I first met with her and her friends and our Dockhead boys, our little mob, I'd go down there and just to listen to the music, you know, big influence on music. And from the Beckett, you had other pubs. The Fort was another big pub of ours, and the Fleece down Law Street was near Tabard, Freddie London's pub. All these publicans are all boxers then, but our big pub was the Fellmongers Arms. Neville Axford had that. It's fantastic boozer. It was our pub, and they had a fantastic football team. And we played London Sunday football against 279. You know, these are proper football teams, you know. And VCD and teams like that, and Victoria Deepwater Terminal and Convoys, and all, you know, all really top quality. And 279, they had about 100 players to pick from, all top quality football.
Play with 279.
That was brilliant. The best football pitch in London. But they played in the Nationals up, you know, beat someone I think up in Liverpool Docks that I've helped set up. Some of them still going to fight battles. Don't like coming second. But Downtown Defence Campaign, as we mentioned earlier, is one of them. That was the first time the people come together and go, no bollocks, we're not having this. We're not having it. And there's a lot of energy there. To get to the High Court of Justice takes some doing. Surrey Docks Angling Club, still going, as we mentioned. It's going from strength to strength. Keeps kids off the streets.
What's the best fish you've ever caught in the Docks?
All depends what you mean by best. I don't go for big carp. I generally go for perch, smaller fish and roach and things like that. But the carp anglers, they'll sit there for days on end, and there's a lot of them, they're dedicated. A lot of them are old boys, born and bred round here, and just want to get out. During COVID, it was a godsend, absolute godsend, just for them to get out of the house. Either go down the Woodlands here and just walk the dog, or to go a few hours fishing. It was priceless. So that's another group we sold up. I helped pull together all of the groups together, the environmental groups, and we call Green Connections. So that's just Southwark Park as well, friends of Southwark Park, Gary May Golden, Pat Kingle, the brilliant Pat Kingle, and another group, Stavelwood Logical Park, Lavender Pond Nature Reserve. We said we've got to join forces. We jump on our own. They don't hear you, but we all jump together. They'll listen. Don't worry. So we form that group. So we meet as and when we need to make sure developers build green links and green connections, like they keep on about all their pamphlets. Make sure they adhere to it, and they are proper green links, not a couple of trees in a concrete pot, you know. So that's another good thing. Canada Waterfall is now nearly finished, served its purpose. That was brilliant. The Albert McKenzie statue group, Albert McKenzie, probably the greatest story ever to come out of Bermondsey, I'd say, by a million miles. Again, fate that in Grange Road School, they had a lot of concrete plinth to him in amongst the debris, really, of a little garden in the school. And the developers went in there, done some work in there, and picked up and threw it in the skip. And it made the front page, I think, of the Southwark News at the time. I can't think who the reporter was. But the boys up at, or men, up at Stansfield, Oxford and Bermondsey, they was up at the bar with their own club up there. Then there was a fantastic club up there. And they got together, I say we, it wasn't as much me, it was them. They had the connection with Albert McKenzie being a boxer. He come out of Alice Road at the back of Mans's, really, where Artley's used to be. And the story of him in the Royal Navy when he was chosen to go on the raid to Zeebrugge to block up the harbour of to stop the U-boats coming out and doing our ships. they chose him because he was the hardest little person. He's only 5'4", and he was a boxing champion. Come out of Bermondsey, and after the raid that went really wrong, he ended up coming back after his foot blown off. He killed 9 German soldiers by running along, picked up a Lewis gun, run along the wall of the Zeebrugge Harbour, called the Mole, and took out the German post that was alerted early about what had happened. They was trying to get up onto the wall. The tide was low and it was a disaster really. But he got thrown back into a boat. They got him back to the boat on the Invincible, back on out in the channel, and they got him back home. He had the bottom of his foot blown off and was taken to a hospital. He was in hospital in Chatham, and he died from his injuries a week before the end of the war. Unbelievable story. But what the King done, there were 1,700 sailors involved in this raid. It was all blacked up to go out there to do this thing. It's going to be a big. I knew a lot of casualties and deaths, but he asked all of those to choose who get the Victoria Cross, and he got it. They said no one touches him, all right? And he got it. And when we heard about that thing that was in the Southern News about the stone being thrown in the skip, the lads, Paul Keith and Fitzy and others, they heard about it in the 80s. They were all mates, so I played football with them there. They said, we'll moan about it over a point. We can do something about it. That attitude, I love that attitude. You know, well, it ain't going to happen. But they done it. They pulled it all together, culminating in getting funds. Simon Hughes was involved with really in a good way in getting them the funds. He had contacts. Lord West was his big contact. Lord West, head of Admiralty. And they ended up all going over to Zeebrugge to see the mayor of Zeebrugge and a big pageantry and all that going. And then the funds were rolling in, and they commissioned Kevin Boys, the blacksmith at the farm, out of those funds to get planning permission, because it's outside Manses really, isn't it? To build a statue of Albert McKenzie. Kevin got involved. It was a different type of statue, because a lot of statues can be very similar, and all made of steel, because you know the ships and all that going and out there. And the design was decided upon, and the concrete plinth was going to be not just a plinth, it was going to be a replica of the mole itself. So they sent us over replicas, exact replicas, and also some big rings that they tied the ships up on that were found by divers when they'd done a bit of a dive on the edge there, and had been kept in storage out there, and they let us have them. They are the original rings for the mole. And so the Albert McKenzie statue group, which I just said their names, they kept on at it. We got planning permission, and after 10 years ago, the 100 years up of the First World War, and the statue was unveiled. Kevin done, after about 7 months doing the body of Albert McKenzie. We couldn't have the statue, we wanted to have him kneeling down, but you can't have a statue with a gun pointing. You have to have it in a different position. So me and Kevin grabbed hold of me, being a pipe fitter, welder and engineer. He said, look, I ain't going to get it done on time. He said, you do the gun and I'll do the, under his jurisdiction, you know, because he's the man. What he can't do with metal ain't worth doing. And I said, I'll have it. I'll have it all day. And so I went over there, started from drawings that Kevin had to do the main bulk of it. A different ball game to what I was doing, because he's shaping metal more than welding it, but he taught me things, so we cracked on. And after about 2.5 months, we asked to go and see the original gun, Lewis gun, which was in the archives underneath the Imperial War Museum. A fellow named Paul Cornish, no relation, was the curator down there, and he'd written books on this, and he'd been in touch. He said he'd gladly let you to go down and to have a look at it. So we went down there, and he got it all out, and he broke it all down in little bits and pushed it all back again. He showed the history of the Lewis gun.
The actual gun?
The actual gun. The history of it, and he broke it down, pushed it all back together. Kevin loved it because that's right up his street, you know. And but as soon as we looked at it, after about 3 or 4 minutes, I looked at Kevin, and he went, "You thinking what I'm thinking?" I went, "Yeah." It weren't the same size, right, as what we was making. They gave us another drawing of a Belgian type of Lewis gun that the Yanks took on, but it used to seize up. The magazine used to seize up, and so it went over to the Yanks because it was seizing up. You can't have loads of troops running at you and it seized because it was overheating. So what the British done was they turned the magazine that was spinning into a fan as well as a machine gun. So it's cooling it down. So it's clever, and it's clever stuff. So that's how that came about. And we done the main body. I looked at Kevin, looked at me, and I said, this Paul Cornish said, "You've been showed drawings you're copying," and Kevin had the wrong type of drawing. It weren't a lot different, but it was different. And we thought we got the Royal Navy from Collingwood, HMS Collingwood in Portsmouth, coming up on the day to do 100 naval and Lord West coming up on the day of the unveiling, and now look at it, it's like you're looking at something you know about and go, that painting, that's fucking...
Like the Spurs kit with a
right,
cannon on or something.
Right, yeah.
No.
So I went, what are we going to do, Kev? Now, with me going to work and working as a pipe fitter welder, I'll get things done, get paid and fuck off. With him, he's got to get things done right. He's working anyway, so he said, I'll tell you what we do. We went back, he grabbed hold of the gun I've been working like hard compared to him. He picked it up and threw it in the skip. He went, we start from scratch. He said, it's Albert McKenzie we're talking about here. I went, I love it. I said, but let's put us back another. He went, anyway, fucking was hard. I can't believe how hard it was. And we cracked on and done it to the specifications that we was given by Paul Cornish. And we just about got it done in time. The unveiling in that place, I love every inch of it down there, you know. I've got to go down there probably next week. I'll give it a little look over, see if there's any rust spots on it, and spray it up a bit. Run down and spray it up. And we'll have a lot of people go down there on Armistice Day. Most people go West Lane or Old Jamaica Road.
I always go West Lane.
Yeah, I do, yeah. And but they we go down. That's the association with Stansfield FC. All of the young players of Stansfield now, still in the top quality league, all come from Kent. Coach parties down to on every Armistice Day or Sunday. So these are the sons of my mates who still play football for them. They all come down. I mean, well over 100 of them. All get off the coaches, come round, and we do our. The vicar comes over and does his piece. We used to go up the old club, but that's gone. The old Stansfield club. Unbelievable. But we now go. We went over to the Purbrook club down Abbey Street. We had it in there for a while, but now we have it down at Millwall's place, Will Tapman Shunters Club down in Millwall, and we have that, and they just have a real good piss up down there. So that Albert McKenzie story, to me, is second to none in Bermondsey. It epitomises everything, you know. But that's great stuff. Albert McKenzie, Bermondsey boy. Victoria Cross, First World War. Statue of him going to go to Tabridge Road in 2015. and we're getting there.
You can see the bolt sits on top of a piston.
I'll put it in the same position. Which is the right arm or the left arm? It's a great, fantastic, lovely. This is the Albert McKenzie's belt. About half done, I'd say, yeah?
Yeah.
Top of the magazine, and the Lewis gun being done on the press. These are the bullets being made.
See the case of the rim
Yeah.
on the casing just right.
Next thing's the point, yeah? Final bullet. Albert McKenzie's hands.
There we go.
Okay.
Here he is. All finished, just doing the last bit of welding just on the feet.
But I think it'll be the most amazing day. Thank you very much.
Pitchley, what time you turn up this morning? The other two things is the pubs. We've lost a lot of our fantastic pubs, and it's all gentrified now. You know, £7, £8 a pint now. And all what we spoke about earlier about some of the great pubs we had, they're virtually all the same price. But now it's ridiculous. But where my nan and my granddad lived was in 4 doors down from the Old Justice. So as a kid, I'd sit outside with a bottle of Coke and some crisps and that. And they'll come out of Bevan Street, all born in Bevan Street. I've got some great photos. And when I heard about the Old Justice, I said, "You're fucking joking me, right?" Greedy people. One person in particular, I definitely won't name in case I get nicked. But he's a greedy, multi-billionaire offshore property speculator. And I found out about this fella, and he's got 100 pubs in London and the South East. And the connections with the Old Justice is obviously Paul McCartney, and the other one is the old programme called The Sweeney, that everyone knows about, of a certain age. So next thing you know, that I've got a wind, they're smashing it down, the interior fixtures and fittings, right? They've moved people in upstairs, but the application was for that the ground stays as a pub. I heard this, I thought, right. They said, you won't get in down there. Because you balled it all off with push button things to get through past the audience to get into the pub. I said, right, leave it to me. So I've gone down there, waiting. I'll see when they went to have a cup of tea and a bacon roll round Servwells. The people in there smashing it up. The original oak panelling in there. It was heartbreaking anyway. When they went, they left a young kid in charge. The door was slightly open. They'd gone, I know they're going to be down there in a half hour having a breakfast. So in I go, so I could hear him banging away. I could hear some cups and saucers being, I've got Ben, I'm taking photographs. Everything's on the floor, all the panelling's all smashed up. The paintings that was on the wall, everything. Photographs of all the beanos and all that going, all smashed on the floor. The piano was chips all over it. So all of a sudden the kids came out of the corner and he dropped on the floor with fright. He went, oh, well, mate, what are you doing? I said, don't worry about it, son. I said, don't worry about it. I said, he said, I'm just putting the tea urn on. I said, I thought I could hear you, mate. He said, oh, mate, you ain't allowed in here. I said, listen, you're all right, there's no trouble. Just want to take some photos. He went, oh, they come back. I said, mate, listen, make your tea urn. I said, by the way, I've done this twice and two things. I said, he said, who are you then? I said, where's your at? He went, oh, you ain't health and safety, are you? I went, yeah. So when I said, you've got 240 cables on the floor there, look, I said, get them up. He went, oh, you had to tell them. He said, they'll go mad, you tell. I said, anyway, he's fucking started to pull things. So I went, click, took loads of photos. As soon as I'd done it, in fact, I said, you won't need no more from me, son, don't worry, you're all right. So he went, oh, thank fuck for that. Straight on the phone to Kevin Quinn and Chris Mullaney. Kev, got a front page for you. What is it? I mean, he said, for us, I said, exclusive, it's yours. I said, stop this bastard. So he went, send them to me. He went, oh, he said, sold this one and watch it. I said, give it, unless it's a stabbing or something, give it some prominent. Anyway, he did. He put it out there. I'd already met my mate Michael with the long hair, long blonde hair, Michael Robertson, fucking fantastic man. We got mates with Darren Chandler. You know Darren?
Yeah, don't know where from.
Darren of Albany, he calls himself one. What's that? He's a Woolworth boy.
I think he's in my film about almonds.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He is. Yeah. No, he's a nice bloke.
Yeah.
He's old man. He used to run the car front at Surrey Keys one-way system.
What, next to the Wags?
Yeah, he used to run that. Anyway, we know him, a gee's name, Phil O'Shea. They'd already been on this because they said about the connection with the Sweeney and Paul McCartney, right? So they got in touch with me and my mate and said, come and meet us. And we met him down Parker's Road. The office there's a fella down a bit of money. He said, he'll back you on this. He said, we ain't having it. So we had this meeting, so now there's four of us, and we all went energetic, and going, we've got to make it stop the rot here. We can't allow this to go on in Bermondsey. Otherwise we're going to look back and go, how the fuck did we let that happen? So he went to me, we had this meeting. Then the next thing you know, the fella, we found out more about this fella and about how bent he was. And it's not his only pub, he's going to do loads more. So we thought we've got to stop this rot. We've got to stop this rot. So we got in touch with the Paul McCartney mob, right? Then we got in touch same day with the Sweeney mob, thinking we need some publicity here. Next thing you know, they got back to us. Next morning, turns my phone on. Ding, 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 ding. I thought, what the fuck's happened here? The Sweeney Appreciation Society is massive. I didn't know. I hadn't had a clue. They come in saying, you've got our full support. This cannot be allowed to happen. Please tell me they haven't smashed it all up. We said, we think we might have stopped it. Depending on what publicity. Then the Paul McCartney connection come in. Loads of supporters, right? Then we're in business. We got legal people involved. let that get out to this property speculator, and he pulled out a day before it went to court. Bottled it, bottled it. Put in 2 new fellas from Oxton, publicans. They said we'd take this on all day long. They spent it on. It's one of the best pubs now in South East London. It's phenomenal. Right? It ain't like it used to be. It's not going to be like it used to be. But they have Irish nights on Wednesdays, and you can't get in the door on a Wednesday night. You bring your own instruments, you know, the old skittles and all that, and the drums and the violins. It's something to behold, you know. And I look back at that now, I think, God, what a touch that was. To save that boozer is something else, and you've beaten a greedy developer that's just running right through, buying all the pubs up in London, you know, with mates that he knows, in planning in different, especially Tower Hamlets and Acme, all around those places. But he tried it on over here, and I've always you think, this fucking Bermondsey, they put up a fight. There's no fight down where the other places, down here they've had. So that was that. Then we found out about the China Wall, what he'd done to the China Wall, Nicky Norris, you know, and his wife down there. I didn't use it as much as I did the other pubs, but it was the point, right? And it's the same fan, it's the same bloke. Same thing, 6 flats, luxury flats above, but the ground floor, he's only got planning permission to bring back a boozer, and he's broken the rules. Same old thing, I gets in there, they're all in there, the builders, done exactly the same thing, said to Kevin and bang bang, they put it on in the paper, I think it made page 3, and we're back in the fight again to win that one. We ended up with the council on our side. They gave us a barrister, their own barrister, to help us fight it in court, which was at Tooley Street, in front of a government's planning inspector. Went over 3 days. It was funny, because it's not usual you get people that ain't done much for you, that are on your side fighting you. It's hard to get used to, you know. So we had this judge, he said, who's the 2 people from the public that are fighting the case? And I went like that, and Mickey Robertson put his hand up. He said, okay. He said, listen, we thought this could be done in a day, but he said, I can't see it be done in a day. Are you okay if it goes through till next Monday? And he goes to work, I'm retired. He went, so everyone said, yeah, we'll have that. People got up and done that a bit, but he said, listen, because I've already been in court before for the downtown site in the High Courts of Justice. So he turned around and said, if there's any really important question you want to ask, I'm telling you now, you to ask me now, don't ask me on the last day, because I will not be happy, okay? So I said, okay. He said, what is anyone got, they're looking, and I put my hand up. So he said, yes. He says, not very often we get someone say that. What can I do with you? I said, look, this is how I see it. I'm just Joe Bloggs, live in the area, seeing how pubs go. He said, listen, stick to the question, don't go off on a tangent, yeah, please. So I said, okay, I'm just saying, he went, just stick to what is it you want to... I said, then I made another cock up. I said, we are going to tell you how great the pub is, how it's a community asset, blah, 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 and all this stuff goes with it. He said, yes. I said, the other side are obviously going to say, how run down. He went, stop. I'll give you 2 chances now, Mr. Cornish. You don't tell me what you think the other side are going to say. You tell me what you want to say, but you don't tell me what you think the other side are going to say. I'll make that decision after 2, 3 or 4 days. But what is your question? I said, to save a lot of your time, he went, oh, I'm all ears now. Fire away. I've asked this before in court, and the High Courts of Justice, and they'll look round the other lot thinking, you know. He went, go on. I said, how about you visiting the site and have a look for it yourself? He went, they tried everything to stop that happening, the other side. The other side tried everything. This is his lawyers. These lawyers played with our lawyer for about 4 hours. It was heart-wrenching, honestly. He just toyed with him. But I've got to say, he looked like Columbo, this little fella. But he come back on his day in court, as they say, always say that, don't he? You'll have your day in court, he had to take a battering, an absolute battering, on legal stuff. That he obviously went up to scratch. But he had his thing, and he came in, I cheered him. He was like all soapy, he had holes in his bottoms of his shoes. But he was terrific, he had his say. And the judge said, I will make a decision tomorrow morning whether we're going to go and visit that site. So now they're going outside, trying everything they can. I'm moving through different people that I know. They're going to try and stop that they can't get. So they come back and said, look, we've got so-and-so, we need to go there, blah, blah, we need to go. We can't get them all there, I think you should call it off, right? The site visit. He said, we don't need all of them, do you? One of you do. And it shut them right up, didn't it? So they went, oh, well, he said, well, 3? How about 3? I'll give you 3. So they went bumping anyway, that was it. He said, how did we get there? I don't know, well, I'll come from Sussex, I don't know where. I said, mate, outside 4 stops on a 381. He went, fantastic. You and you, both opposites, this is their client and us. He said, when we got on the bus, once we leave this room, you're not allowed to speak to me, yeah? End of story. Not allowed. All the way down there. If anyone tries to speak to me, I'll tell you to move out of the way. And all right, you won't. That's it. All right, no problem. He said, but we just had the phone call to say that everyone's okay by the pub owner, the offshore billionaire, saying he's okay with it. Right? This is the day before. Because the judge apparently said to him, it'd be in your favour to let us in there. Right? So we came the next day. We get on the 381. We goes, there's 8, 9 of us, and the judge. We goes down, gets off just past 7 Islands. As we get off, his phone goes, the judge, and he said before we went to go in there, he said we just had a phone call from the client, and he's saying everyone can go in there. We thought, yeah. He said except Steve Cornish and Michael Robertson. He wouldn't let us go in. So he said, what are we going to do here? So I said, well, let everyone go in. I said, we're being backed up by the council's own people. I said, we stay outside, we wait outside, no problem. He said, he had the phone back and said, don't going in. He said, okay then. So they tried that on. We was at the door first to go in. As the door opened, they went in, our Southwark Council barrister and the officer fighting on with us came back out as if he'd forgot something. He turned and he went, fucking gold, 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 gold. He's only been in there 2 minutes. So he'd been renting it out to people with no money. There was mattress marks on the carpet in the downstairs. So even though he was illegally doing it, he's making money out of people that are on the top of the council's housing list. There's some bastards about, but this takes the biscuit.
So all the bar was gone.
Oh, everything. All the pipes. He smashed all the pipes going down to the.
So he's living there.
I've got in this house. I know I've got it. I nicked the actual transcripts of the old case. When we went to leave on our final day, I picked it up and it just fell in my bag. And I still got it. But I can't find it. I've tried everywhere. It's definitely in this house somewhere. I think I'll put it out in the attic maybe. But it's the actual tramp with all the photographs of Mickey Noyes. They killed Mickey Noyes. They killed him and his wife, right? And his daughter backed us 100% on this. And they even tried to say that we claimed that it was a lot to do with sport in that pub, right? We had to make it a community asset, and they fought against that. That was the main reason. And as I said, back in the 70s, we'd play football in Southwark Park for Fellmongers or Dickens estate. And we wouldn't even put our boot, we'd go and run across the road with a pint over there rather than go in the shower, right? Because it was that packed with people in there. Then nowadays you've got touch rugby goes on in there, right? Coach group was getting in there. And Mickey was ill and then they amputated Mickey's leg over his, it's all down to it, this bastard. And they tried to claim that it wasn't a sports bar, it was pool played in there, it's all sport. And they tried to prove it by saying on the night they had a fundraising event in there, we've got photographic evidence, fuck knows where they got it from, to say there was only 19 people in the pub on a fundraising night, right? So when they put that out there, I got it and marked it to my mate in work. Do us a favour, some of these photos have been sent to us by the other side, blow them up for me and send them to me. And he went, no problem. So he sent them to me. All the football tropers are all above the optics, all the way round the bar. So that fucks up their thing. So they had to drop that fucking argument that he wasn't anything to do with sports. Mickey Norris died, so he never got to see it at the end of the day. But again, that went to court. The judge thanks everybody. He said, I was intrigued to go. Oh, they said that this crap that the clients, me and Michael were saying, that it's right next to it's going to be right next to the Surrey Docks station, and it's going to be a major thoroughfare through to the new master plan area. All people are going to stop and have a drink and have a sandwich and all that lot before they go around the thing. It'll be a gold mine in the end of the day. Not when we know it, because it was getting derelict around here. They're saying, and you're saying, you can't even see it from here, it's 500 yards, and we're saying no, it's 100 metres away. So when we got there, the judge said, after we come out, the judge said, thank you very much everybody. They looked dejected, they thinking, we're going to fucking lose this, right? He said, can we walk back to where is Surrey Dock Station? Steve? I went, yeah. I said, just down there. He said, can we walk along there? I can get a train to Sunsoap now, I've got to get back to Sussex. I said, of course you can. So we all walked down there, stood outside, Surrey, he said, look back, he went, is that the pub there? I went, yeah. So he looks the other side, he said, would you say 100 yards? So they went, no, that's a lot further, we've told you, 500. He said, let's say 150 and leave it at that, shall we? And he went, yeah, 150. So that's it. It's just there. So we walked this little distance, how far, so the client was right, yeah. But I'll make a report, it takes that 6 weeks. And we come, next thing you know, we got the call from the council. Oh, the fella who fought the case for us, Colombo, we called him. When we got to the station, he went to go. I said, can't thank you enough, mate, you've been brilliant. Ain't often we get the council on our side, you know. He said, no, it's a wrongdoing. And he said, and I've got to tell you, this would be a big thing for loads of other pubs, I can tell you that now. He said, but over the other side of the river, he's got a lot of friends in high places, in planning departments, that are just washing things through. He don't generally see all this. He don't generally get it, you know. He's never challenged. Anyway, he's a billionaire, so he ain't like that. He said, can't thank you enough. I went, oh, before you go, I said, you like a drink? He went, yeah. I said, come. Just get over this Witherspoon. So he fell out there. I said, on us. And he fell out of there. So
they won, but it still ain't a pub. What's going on?
They gave him a 6-month extension. He had a year by law to do it, but because of, again, see, people with money, because of they knew now what state it was and how he was earning rent out of it off the council. Right? Even though he was wrong, they gave him, because he had to get people out, the vulnerable people, out of the premises, and it's going to take some time, and we need to do a couple of alterations to this, that and the other, but then we would do it. I gave him about, I think, 9 months to get going, and then they never done it, and they come back and said, look, we've agreed, because I'm not sure, something happened, and he went, we give you another 3 months extension. Now they've issued him with a writ to say, get things going, otherwise we'll basically nick you. So we're waiting for that to happen. So we saved 2 boozers. Mm. The Brunel Statue Group.
Oh, you heard about the H's Cafe, Neptune Street?
Yeah. So
it's new owners.
Yeah.
They're having a big launch.
I know everything about it.
Is it the oldest cafe in Rotherhithe?
Look, me.
I've had an invite, invite to a fucking cafe.
Oh, I had to talk to you off.
Oh,
okay,
I'll come back to it.
But you won't be happy, I'll tell you, when I tell you. And the other thing is the development we won here downtown. It's all been built now, But I was a member of the construction group afterwards, and one of the councillors that used to be there, David Abba, he said, Steve, they're looking for a name for the road into the new development. I said, oh, I'd love that all day. So he went, I think they're looking about a fortnight, you're going to come up with some names. So we went in the next construction meeting. The developer, Barrett Holmes, they said, yeah, Steve, if you can get us come up with some things for the you think are appropriate. So I went, I said, I love it. So I went out and looked at it, and I thought, where do I start? And I phoned up Stephen Humphries and had a meeting with him at the Elephant about it. I want to get my facts right. He said, what is? I said, Cow Lane. Did it go through the Rotherhithe school site? And he went, yeah, I could tell it did, but I can get you the proof. And he was so efficient, he sent me all the drawings going back to 1604, right? I went, brilliant. So I've done that, because it's where they should get cattle from the ships off the old Woodland onto Rotherhithe marshland and get the cows on to go to graze on the thing. It was just a little bit like Grange Walk and Pages Walk. It was just mud with a flat top, so you were not in the slurry. So I went, brilliant. It goes back to the developers, and David Hubber was there, and Andrew Dole, the local vicar. They said, Steve, any? I said, yeah. I said, I've got one. I've even got the drawings. I'm feeling really fucking pleased about myself. Going back to 1604, they went, oh. I said, they went, yeah, go on. I went, Cow Lane. Barrett's went, all Barrett's representatives went, sorry? I said, Cow Lane. They went, oh, no. I said, what do you mean? I said, I said, no, Steve, did not tell us the history. Our client won't like Cow Lane. They're selling flats here, worth a lot of money. And it won't fit in. We're looking at sort of, I don't know, to do with the Woodlands, Tulip Close or Redford Close or whatever. I went, why don't you fucking tell me? You've got, I said, I won't be nut. I said, Steve, we need this by next week. I said, so I've got another chance. They went, yeah. So I read the books, Stephen Humphries' books, and it kept coming up about dill porters being called Blondins as a nickname, right?
But like tightrope walking.
Yeah, Charles Blondin, French, world famous acrobat and trapeze artist. And called him that because the other doctors tried to do what they do, running across the logs, and they used to use the planks as balancing aids, like tightrope walkers do. And so it kept coming up. I thought, well, I ain't going to get it. I ain't going to start going Tulip Close and all that game. I've already got all that round here, Fir Tree Close and Globe Pond Cloak Road. So I thought, bollocks, I'm going for it, Blondin Way, right? So I told our council, I went, oh, we're going for it. I said, they've asked us, they've got everything, they've got their money, and leave us with a bit of history. And I went back to Stephen Humphries, and he said, if you could get that, he said that he weren't well at the time, he wasn't well. He said, if you can get that, he said, that'd be fantastic. I said, it's definitely, I'm reading it in books, he said, no, that is the thing, it's well documented. Other doctors used to call them Blondins all the time, So I went, okay, so I went back with it, told them, it went lukewarm. So I thought, fuck this, I ain't doing it again. So I said, hold on here, this is our fucking area, this is our area, it's not your area. I know we've gone down 15 stories down to 4. We've worked with you at the end of the day to get what we've got. I didn't like it. I don't think it's a very, very good development. Because when you win, all the quality goes out of it. Don't worry about that. The bricks are... And so they turned around and went, Steve, we'll have to take that away. And I said, well, you tell them this ain't over until it's over. And that Blondin, I said, is going to be a stumbling point for the people. I've asked dozens of people in the street around here. I didn't. And they've all said, oh, Steve, Charles, I tell you damn fucking, man, asking people who Charles Blondin is. So they come back and said, you got it. It wasn't easy. It was against at first, but we turned it into a support. So it's now Blondin Way. So I have a name, I feel proud of it. Yeah, Blondin Way. The other thing is, I can tell you, not the others, because you know the names, but the red crane that was on the site, it all fell through, right? Because a lot to do with COVID. But we had the money. But it's certainly the company that said they'll pull up the money on Section 106, where it was called Holy Book. They weren't a bad company, to be honest. But you weren't going to stop it. They're going to build houses. The flats are there. They don't look great. You had the old Sea Scouts mission's gone, and a little play area, free play area, that's gone. So you never win. But that's fell through me being ill a couple of times. I had a couple of heart attacks, and just couldn't do it, and I feel bad about it. But I've just badgered our local councillors. One of them's Adam Hood, and he's a good councillor. He's very good. He's a doer, not a talk. He's a doer. And said about the crane. He said we're willing to back it if you want it. We got the plinth already built from before. Lovely seating area, prime position, right on the Thames front. My mate who runs Liquid Highway, they've been badgering me all the time because I told them that's what we're going to do. I said that'd be fucking fantastic. Obviously, ain't going to be nowhere near the size. Health and safety issues are quite big because it's right on the Thames. But they said they can overcome that. But they're all for it, the councillors. They said they're going to back it. So it's back on. The red crane's back on.
Oh.
It's back on.
Is that?
Kevin's he's over the moon, Kevin. He said, how do you achieve that? I said, just ask. Just ask. You ain't going to get it from the developer. What's it matter? The money's going to come from the public. Mm. But the plinth's there, so that's been taken out of it. A lot of the architectural work and the drawings have already been done. All it is, you can't let COVID stop everything and we don't move on. We can revisit it and they're willing to back it with the same costs.
So what's it going to kind of be hoisted up and floated down somewhere?
No, it'll be. I can show you exactly where it's going. It's on it's right on the Thames Path. Yeah. It's between where the Docklands. It's right roughly where the Docklands, the downtown restaurant was.
Oh, ain't that there no more?
That's been gone years, donkey's years.
Is it? I'm sure I was fucking walking past it.
You should live over there.
Oh yeah, and I kind of took pictures of it. Must have been fucking
so
years
ago.
So
the man in there 4 times. But that was something else. That was.
So I was going to ask, what's going to happen to that? It looks like it's fucking open up again.
It's a block of flats, 12 stories tall.
Is it?
Yeah. That's where we're going to get the money from the developer to get the crane. We had a wedge to say if you want to build that, we want that fucking crane, to be reconstructed by our local blacksmith and put on there as a monument to what the last.
But you ain't going to get that original.
Oh no, it's fucking 70, 80 foot tall.
Yeah, I know. I thought you were to get the cranes and float it down and put it on the new.
I'll show you in a sec. I'll show you the. Well, when it's different, I'll show you. You'll be impressed. Kevin made a replica out of original Meccano.
Yeah, because he was saying, when they when it was going to go, he said he'd have a bit of it and make all little miniature.
No, we've saved a lot of the artefacts. Yeah. The jib, the crane jib.
Yeah.
The running wheels.
Yeah. And
all that have been saved. They're still over there. But obviously, what we've got to do is the main jib's going to be about 12 foot long, something like that. The docker's cabin, the crane driver's cabin, will be about as big as 2 or 3 wheelie bins sort of size, and the plinth will be sitting up on the plinth, but the angle of it is where the planners will probably go, it's too dangerous. So we've got to be clever with it. And what Kevin a lot to do, I'm not too keen, but Kevin a lot to do is bring it into a more modern context, that we have maybe an heron on it and a couple of crows or something, or a couple of seagulls on the side of the crane as little things, like we've done with the Rotherhithe Bridge with the tugboat. You've seen the tugboat that we just done.
What one's Rotherhithe? The one this Surrey case or the one?
Just here.
We had to where I am.
We had the school unveil it a couple of months back.
So the one near a
I'll
Sunny
show, I'll
Docks.
show you. It's a 30 seconds walk.
Yeah.
I'll show you. You see, it's brilliant.
So not the one up.
No, it's called the Knocker White. The White family come from Rotherhithe, and the Knocker White is still there over in Millwall Docks. And Liquid Highway sent me all the diagram drawings. They said they deserved this for doing that, because tugboats and that was Rotherhithe Schools. We got 5 bridges in the Woodland. As soon as we become chairman of the Woodlands group, we had 5 bridges in the Woodland. We got 5 sculptures going on the bridges. So we got Albion School, Peter Hills, Redriff, St John's, and Alfred Salter. They've all got their own sculptures on there now. But this last one was the Knocker White tug put in the barge with the dockers on the barge, and he got unveiled. I think it's the best one out of the lot. It's fucking brilliant. It is. What he's done, he went because his boy went there, Kevin. He give it a little bit more, you know. And on the way, I'll show you it. It's on the way to the car, really. And it's fucking fantastic. They unveiled it. They sung their own shanty song, the kids that they learnt, on the opening ceremony. And it's brilliant. I'll send you the video. It's fucking fantastic. I think. Yeah, and I'll tell you about. Well, the coat of arms thing, I can tell you. The other one, I'll have to tell you privately, because it's high profile. Is the Bermondsey coat of arms, what I told you about just now. That went very quick. I think the developers went, let them have it. We'll have to knock it down anyway. We don't want to smash it down and people go mad and our heritage and culture being. So that where it goes, I love ideas. I love ideas where it could go. But it looks like Gary Glover, Gary Maygold, Pat Kingwell, and other people at Southwark Park have said if we can get near the cafe. Snides on the group, right?
Oh, fuck.
And when we all met for the first time, because I put down, born and bred in the area, love this area, I fight tooth and nail. All the others, there was doctors and there was someone who's a musician around the back. There was someone else who was, they had money. And got on this group. It was in the Redriff School, and we sat around this great big table. And I'll never forget this. This about sums everything up, to be honest. I've been elected. We sat there. They had an independent chair from Goldsmiths. We didn't want a chair from the school because obviously they got a vested interest. So they let us have the independent chair from Goldsmiths. We went in there. We all met for the first time. One of our local councillors was on the panel. All right, I won't say names. And we all sat round. And next thing you know, a month later, we had another meeting, and there was a representative from Barrett Homes and another company called Ampurious, right, based in Tel Aviv. So I thought, well, don't like look at this dodgy. And a fella lives round the corner, he's now passed, Jeremy Pender. He was basically a spy for the NHS, doctors that was doing wrong things. Getting tablets for that from other companies and all that going, and getting sort of things for it. That was his game. So I went round and see him. I said, I've got 2 names. I said, fine. He said, one's representing Barrett Homes, one's representing Ampurious. I said, do us a favour, it's your game, you know how to do it. Find out who they are. 48 hours later, he come back, he told me exactly who they are. Went back into the next meeting. In there, same people. The independent chair, I said, can I point of order through the chair, please, before we start? He went, no problem, Steve, what is it? The school's headmaster was there. And I said, we've already had a meeting, we all introduced one another, didn't we, everybody, around the table. Perfect. He said, Steve, that was last month. I said, no, we're back for the second meeting. I said, I heard all what we've done in the past, like you heard about me, you heard about everyone. There's 2 people in this room, they're both sitting opposite one another right now. But I want to ask them a question, and the chair went, Steve, can you get to the point? I went, you, and you, E. Fawcett, her name was, from Barrett's, and Noel Ashton. I said, do you know one another? They said, well, of course we do, we met last month. I said, don't fucking take the piss now, right? Do you know what outside of these meetings you ever met before? So the chair went, Steve, I said, look, either you say it or it's coming from me. And this E. Fawcett said, yes, we both worked together. And people, the rest of the people on the panel went, what? They said, yeah, we both worked. I said, go on, finish it off. I want to do it. Just have it. He said, yeah, I work for Southwark Council's planning department, and she worked underneath him in the properties department, Southwark Council. So I said, I'm getting up. I'm off the group. That's from there. The barracks bloke stood up, said, Steve, I said, listen, I'm off the group. Either get another group, do it all again, or I'm off. It's up to you. He said, we can talk about this, Steve. It'd be better for you. I said, done that better for me. That's it. Went out in the corridor. He come out after me. I said, you don't do it again. They knew I was going to go out. I said, I'm forming our own group, which is the Downtown Defence Campaign. Small at the time, but it grew big. Everyone managed, Bermondsey people put some money into their houses, they're going to fight, aren't they? So went outside, he went to me, Steve, he said, listen, you're making a bad decision. I said, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Who are you talking to? Some sort of mug? You come round and think we're all mugs? So he said, I'm just trying to advise you. I said, I ain't taking your advice, I've just told you I'm off because you're fucking liars, the pair of you. You've had your chance, you're fucking blown it because you thought we were stupid. I said, we can form our own group. He said, Steve, listen, I advise you not to do that. I said, well, I'm going to do it and it's starting tomorrow morning. I'm going to go round, putting leaflets through everyone's box and we're going to get this going. He said, man, his last words he said to me before I met him in the art, he was great. He said to me, Steve, we're a massive company, one of the biggest builders in the country. I went, and he said, we will crush you like a beetle. That's what he said to me. His face changed, big time. I went, we really? I said, listen, I'm from Bermondsey, mate. I said, we don't get crushed. I'll see you. And it took 3 years. We ended up getting legal aid from environmental lawyers in Cambridge that was recommended to us by Friends of the Earth. I got into them first. Went out to Cambridge. We went out with a couple of mates. Went out to see them. They said we'd take it on pro bono because it was a little boys against the big Barrett Owens, David and Goliath thing.
Why did you go to Cambridge? What was the...
Because the Friends of the Earth said that the Friends of the Earth...
I thought it might have been for the CUM.
No, that the Friends of the Earth, they used this environmental lawyers, but the Heathrow Airport expansion thing was on, and the Friends of the Earth was on doing too much of that. We wanted Friends of the Earth to do us, but they said, we got friends in Cambridge, Richard Buxton's environmental consultants. So we went out to see him and they loved it. They loved it. We said, we'll take him on you won't get pro bono, you won't get legal aid now, so it's finished, right? You ain't got a chance. And the next time I see him, same bloke, was 3 years later, we held it up that long, costing them thousands, right? Millions. Was in the High Courts of Justice. They had their barrister, Neil King QC, one of the biggest in the country. We had a publicly funded, what's that? Right. We had a file. He had a file like that. He walked in, Neil King QC, sat down with a wig on. He got 4 law lords in issues in Strand. 4 law lords. They came in, and as these come in and gone through, he had 10 people behind with great big cardboard boxes full of environmental, transport, all the bollocks, right? They walked through, and I waited. They said, "Can you come in?" I went, "Yeah, I'll be here." And in walked this fella from, what's his name? I went, how you going? How's things? All right. His fucking face, he worked £1 million. So we went in, we never won, but we got major concessions. The main thing we went on was the community hall that we had, the downtown CRA hall, was 925 square metres in size. Bingo, all the thing. I've got some great photos of it, honestly. They wrecked that old doctor's surgery site over there. This terrible thing what the council done. But they went there. Where was I?
Right, before walking into court.
Yeah, we've done that in court.
Concessions.
We got it from 600. We got 35% social housing on there. We demanded, and that's what we got. We got car parking spaces, 60% car parking spaces over there, some of it underground. And the other concession was we got a 12.5 metre buffer zone between the duck pond, which we've got kingfishers down in there, in Rotherhithe, kingfishers. 12.5 metre buffer zone between the duck pond and the first block. That block there was going to be 15 stories, we got it down to 4. Nothing went over above 4 stories. Because you had the urban and suburban argument going on at the time for the Mayor of London. I think it might have been Livingston then. Yeah, might probably be the argument going on that they designated down here as a suburban area, which is one little word, SUB. It's a massive word to a developer. They don't want it. They don't want that. Suburban, who's fucking come up with that idea? Suburban. This is urban, inner urban, central urban, 50 stories. Now, to this day, it's ironic that now the Canada Water Master Plan has stopped completely. All because they want to put in a Section 73 agreement that they want to build 10, 11, 12, 13 stories on top of the already 40, 45 stories. And this is the big player. 10% social affordable housing, down from 35%. When they're going to put it down to 10%, so people like Ellen, my daughter and all these others ain't going to have a chance in hell of living in the area. Where are you now? Why aren't you shouting now? And we'll sink in the same hymn sheet. They're going to get away with that because obviously the council are the ones that sign. But there's 1,250 objections gone in. I've never heard anything. 100 objections is massive. 150 is unbelievable. 1,250 objections have gone in. Why? This is my opinion. I'm probably saying too much here. Because the people have already bought into their £2.5 million flats. They want the penthouse. Now all of a sudden they're going to have blocks of tower blocks going up now, 40 stories. They're going to be 55 stories. They ain't going to have that panoramic view of the Shard and the thing and all that going. So they've got lawyers. If you look at the planning applications, the objections that have gone in, these are proper objections. These ain't Joe Blogs going, I don't like the look of that, it looks crap. Why is it grey? Why is it not dark brown and all that going? These are proper. There's only 3 or 4 things that can stop development, and that's sunlight, daylight's a massive thing. The lack of affordable housing of what's they're going to break all the rules, but the council are going to sign it off in, I reckon, early next year. But what we don't want, on the other hand, I'll be honest with you, I don't mind tall buildings because what I forgot to tell you, I was born in Dickens estate in Pickwick House, where I got married in '77. We got a 2-bedroom flat, which in them days, if you live locally, you got the flat. Otherwise your councillors weren't, they was gone. They never got you a place. They never got voted in. That was the Bob Mellis days, you know. And we got a 2-bedroom flat, 4 doors down from where I was born. And that's how it was. Fantastic flat. But we was in, as I say, when I went from there, and all of a sudden they're building houses downtown. And we just couldn't believe it, you know. Building houses downtown.
How did you meet your wife?
I met her first in sort of in groups. Her friends, about 7 or 8 of them, 7 or 8 of us. We evolved around music and go and see bands and that. But it was Thomas at Beckett, and we used to get in the fleece in Law Street as well when we got a few quid in our pocket.
Was she a Bermondsey girl?
She's Bermondsey, yeah. Born in Dover Flats, where Bennett's, just above where Bennett's sports shop used to be.
How did you propose?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think it really happened like that. I can't remember. I'm probably too pissed.
So it weren't down one.
And no, it wasn't none of that. But I was more worried about her old man, because he's, as you know, he's an ex-docker, hard man, very, very hard man, in a nice way. And a lot of respect for him, and still do to this day, you know, looking after him for the last 5 years in the state he's in. But he's still with us, and he's lost his wife, he's lost his 2 kids, but he's still there.
Where did you get married?
We got married at St James's Church. That was another, and we went from St James's Church. In those days, all our family got married in St James's Church. Everybody. We moved across from we finished the wedding, and just carried all the beers and the spirits and all that across to the way door, 100 yards away. So it was all cheap. Look, my daughter's just got married. I won't tell you what it came to, but you see the photograph up there. she just got married, and then it was like a night out really, getting married and then going. But the wedding was good. The wedding car was in Germany that morning. My mate was a roadie for a band called the Rubettes. You remember a band called the Rubettes?
Sugar Baby Love.
Sugar Baby Love, yeah. And he'd done other bands as well. And he's a sound engineer, top quality sound engineer for top bands. Rod Stewart and all that later on in his life. He's now passed, John. And he had to get the car over, and we was fretting on the car. He was then phoned up, said he's down at Dover, and we was wondering. He got there about 10 minutes before he had to get there, down the Old Kent Road to pick her dad up, and he had long hair down there with Marshall sound equipment, t-shirt on. He was chauffeur and all, John. He got a chauffeur's hat, and her dad being the next dock, he told me, "Who the fucking hell? Where'd you get this prick from?" And he just said, "Do you want it or not?" Because John was very blunt. He just slid the door open in the cars of Princess, I think, Van and Plough. And he went, "Do you want to go there or not? Or you want to stay here?" And he went, "All right, mate, fuck, And he went, "Coming." And Vic, as he got up, John had left some cream crackers on the back seat of the thing, and Vic sat on it, and he stuck at the bottom of his. Someone said he got all cream crackers over the back of your seat. He weren't happy at all. But anyway, we'd done that, and the wedding was terrific, and we were married for 48 years.
And your wife's not with you?
No, we lost Chris a year ago.
What do you think have been the highlights of your life?
Oh, without doubt, it's my daughter, my daughter, Victoria. She's been brilliant. Even now with what we're going through, she's been fantastic. She's done an apprenticeship, a little bit like me. I said, "You go for it." And she studied at Bart's and St Thomas's, I think it was, and King's, and done training, and got commended as well in her training. And then they were looking for dentist assistants all over the place when she passed out and got distinction. And I told her then, "Listen, don't take the first thing that comes along. You got bread, you got food, you got any clothes you want, just take it easy. You got a distinction, so just take your time. And one of her mates she was on the courses with for 2 years, come from Stoke, so we're good friends with her. She got a job with a top dentist over Harley Street, and she told me that she's got this job. I said, "This is what you want, go for it." And she went to her mate made contact, and she went down there to see this fella that runs this Harley Street. These are doing all the footballers' wives now. A lot of Arabs, a lot of money people, big money, £100,000 for some teeth done, that type of thing, and or porcelain stuff. And she went over there. He interviewed her, and it was a bit similar to my situation. She knew there's going to be loads of other people going in for this job, but he came up from nothing. Her governor, he came from Newcastle, right? And he'd come up from absolutely nothing. Done a 7-year apprenticeship in Los Angeles, paid for himself. Come back, and he wanted people that he could mould, and he said, "I want character." And she thought she ain't got much chance. Then he contacted her and said, he said, "The job's yours." And she even asked him why she got the job. Why did he said, "Listen, there's lots of others coming. They've been doing it 2 or 3 years. Got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Tell me they can do this, they can do that, but I'm going to mould you into something that I want." And he was at her wedding. It was her wedding, her governor, and it's and she's still there to this day. And she actually runs the place. She runs it from top to bottom.
What was the apprenticeship she done?
She done dentistry. in Bart's and King's.
So she's like a trained dentist.
She's more than that now. She's the boss in there. She's got 4 or 5 people under her.
Bob made a game said, I've never known anyone who's gone to be a dentist from around here.
No, why? No,
Some
why?
of us
The only reason you got it is, again, I believe in fate with jobs. Is my sister's daughter-in-law. She'd become a dentist. She'd done the course, and Victoria was, what am I going to do, sort of thing. Just left school, local school. No, she went to St Ursula's, top of Blackheath Hill, and best as another good thing of going to that school. She had become a person after going to that school. I tell you, proper, and it was good. And she said, my sister said, why didn't you ask? I can't think of her name now. Louise, why did you ask her about the contact? And she went bang, 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 bang. She made a phone call, and they said, "We'll come in and we'll have a little look at you." It's fate. It's fate.
When you was kind of first married, you got a young family. Did you have the same kind of holidays that you had with your parents?
Holidays we had. The best holiday I ever had is back in the early 70s. They're down here then. And I was courting Christine at the time then. She had family in Canada. And I went out to Canada. First flight ever, first time I was ever on a plane. And I went out there, and it's the best holiday I've ever had because it was right up my street because of the wildlife. Everyone out there's got a second home. They was in Ontario, Oshawa, and they drive sort of 70 miles. It's as if they're driving 7 miles out there. But they have a cabin on the lake. Everyone out there has a cabin on the lakes. And we went out there, and different way of life, totally different way of life. They work sort of where you're knackered, coming home here at 8 o'clock at night, knackered, having a wash, eating, getting back up, going back to work, sometimes 6-7 days a week. Out there, midday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're finished. They've got the rest of the day to themselves, enjoy themselves, and they're all earning money. And it really shook me. I thought, why can't we have this? And her cousin was, he was a salesman for rubber, all these quarries and all that game, so he had loads of money. And we went out there, but I should love getting in the canoe early morning for just before the sun come up, and just going out in the canoe and seeing the wildlife, just in the canoe, nice and quiet. They told me one day to go and see the beavers, but it's a bit of a trek. Just stayed right of the lake all the way. When you say a lake, I'm thinking like in Kent, you know what I mean? With a lake out there, you get British holes in it 3 times. So I thought I'm going to go extra early, went out, canoed all the way round. The reflection of all the firs and the forest was all in the water. It was like a picture postcard. And I kept going, and they said, when you get to this narrowing and it speeds up, just pull in there, and it's like a lay-by really, and just wait, and don't try and go to them, they'll come down to you. But be careful of the bears, that's all I was worried about. But I waited and waited and waited for 2 hours, the sun's just coming up, and I think I've got to get back now, I'm starving. Been up to 2 hours canoeing, and I heard this rustle, and then these beavers come down. I'm thinking the beavers are like a bit bigger than a rabbit. You know, they're like as big as a pig, right? The tails on them are like as big as a shovel. And they come down, once they know you're just sitting there, the others come down and they start doing the gnawing and doing the dams and all that lot. That's an experience on its own, you know, being out there. But yeah, that was the best. But all the other time was what everyone's done. Spain, Malta was a big player. Me and Christine, with Vic and Betty, used to go to Malta quite a lot. Good days. And because it was cheap. Now it ain't. It's not as cheap now, is it? It's go kind of holidays. But they were great days out in Malta. Not the most picturesque place, but a lot of history. And you get a nice cheap holiday out there in the sun. Vic loved the sun. He'd stand in all day long. So Malta, Spain, we used to go on jolly ups, Fellmongers Arms, 30 of us, every year, ridiculous, stupid, really, but unbelievable. drinking. You know, sometimes they put their suitcase down in the foyer and don't pick it up until 3 days later. Just go straight in the bowl and that was it. But that was just a jolly up out there. It's changed now, it's supposed to be really nice out there. I've been out there for a long time, Benidorm. But it was, that's just a football team having a good laugh, you know.
What, you got any hobbies?
Main hobbies are, fishing's a big one. I ain't been since Vic's been not well and got the dog. I ain't been as much as I used to, but I could sit and not catch a fish all day in the middle of the countryside, and I'll be happy. Me and John over the road, Johnny Bromley, we'd go out to Berkshire once a week, once a fortnight, definite, fishing for the barbel out near Newbury, that sort of way. Quite a trot. But now, because of the traffic now, what's happening in London, because of the Mayor of London, fucked it right up. Just to get out of London. We used to get to Berkshire about 25, 30 years ago when we first went barbel fishing. Just to so you could get out of the cab and I could come up and work and just go get out of London, get away from the rat race. And it takes you as long now to get out of London it did to get to Berkshire. So it's just too much, and as you're getting older you can't do it, it's hard. But we'd go out there, we'd fish all day, we'd find a little country pub on the way home, just take a chance, and we'd go and have a meal and a pint, and we'd come all the way home. It was like something to reboot you.
What was the thing about barbel then?
The barbel is rivers. I prefer rivers than lakes, and barbel were river fishes, you know, and chub. And but you're out in the middle of unbelievable countryside. When you go fishing on lakes, you got the buzzers going off. You know, the anglers with buzzers now and optonics, sitting there 3 or 4 days to catch a carp. Yeah, fishing's a big. But I'm the secretary of the Surrey Docks Angling Club. I've been secretary now for about 7 or 8 years, and we're going from strength to strength.
What's that, fishing in the docks?
It's fishing in the docks, yeah. We've got the rights to fish. We've just negotiated another licence with see what it is now. Canada Water itself is not owned by the council anymore. It's owned by British Land, the contractors, the master developers. They've been good and bad, but we have got it still, right? Now the other contractors have got the decathlon side of Canada Water. They're a German company called Art Invest. They're very good on environmental stuff. I'm very keen on environmental stuff. The Woodlands. I've been chairman of Friends of Rustock Woodlands now for 25 years. 25 years. Elected by the people. So I'm proud of that. That's an achievement. And we've kept the developers away, right, from that 35 acres of land. It's been hard. There's all been land swap deals and all this like. We've gone, no, we ain't having it. But the situation now is we've negotiated that starting probably in the next couple of weeks, new decking's going to go on the angling pontoons. Disabled swims for obviously the disabled are being incorporated, and a kids float fishing area, because there's a big carp, and the biggest carp in London came out of Greenland Dock last year, 55.2. Don't tell nobody. And so there's some big fish there. But young kids don't want to sit there for 3 or 4 days catching nothing, do they? So we're going to have that restocked when it's all done, at the expense of the developers. And once that decking's done, they're going to put reeds in separating the swims, and we'll have a nice thing going there. And Decathlon, the store, are going to sponsor some matches for the kids. So this has been taking a long time. We ain't been able to fish Canada Water Dock, which is our fishing area, for the last 3 years, because the developers own it, and they had this vision, their vision of the far side of the dock with a red footbridge now that goes over at the boardwalk. I think that looks all right, to be honest. A lot of people's against it, but it's an attraction. It ain't taken a lot of the water up, to be honest. But if they want it, with developers, you're never going to win. If you think you're going to beat them, you are going to have an hard life. But if you can say, well, let's talk early, and we can be a bit of a nuisance to you if we wanted to, or even stronger than that, we'll meet in the middle somewhere. So you throw your cars down, they throw their cars down, we meet in the middle, and we won't disrupt them if they stick to the agreement. That's basically in a room somewhere, you know. It sounds a bit dodgy, but it's not like that. It's about sitting down with the players and going, look, we can make this really hard. We've been here long before you ever thought about this area. When you wouldn't touch this with a barge pole, you're not going to take our fishing here away from us. And we're now in a really strong position. I only spoke to yesterday one of the directors of Art Invest, the German company, and they're going to start a company from Essex. I'm going to start doing a new decking, probably within the next few months. So next fishing season, we could have that all done. That was an hard task. We're losing a bit of our total fishing water, if you like, but that was the compromise.
So next question: what keeps you busy in your spare time? And that's probably all this campaigning and fighting.
At the moment, he's looking after Vic. Is the big one. How far can I go with this? We're having to pay now for Vic to be looked after. Right, it pisses me right off, big time. I won't say how much, but it's a lot of money. But he's over there. He ain't going in no home. He's in his flat. He's 93 years old now, and he's getting by, but he ain't getting any better. But with this private healthcare he's getting, because the provision he was getting from social care was, I can't believe how bad it was. It's an hard job, don't get me wrong. You know, we want to do their job, but at his age, in the condition he's in, things like time, being on time, not turning up when you fancy turning up, it's a big thing to someone that age, a massive thing. Mentally it does him in. So in a way, he realises how lucky he is that I'm 100 yards away. And for 5 years, it's got better now in the last few years, funny enough. Things only get worse, don't they, at that age? But he's had some falls. He's got a serious infection on his foot that they can't control. Just a worry at the moment. But my Victoria's over there. She's only another 100 yards further down the road. She's got a nice affordable flat overlooking the Woodlands like here. And but they're doing well. Danny's got his own business. You've just seen them, just walking the door. He's got his own business. Both born and bred in Bermondsey.
What's his business?
He's a sprinkler. He runs his own sprinkler company. Ironically, the thing that is the Grenfell disaster. He's got so much work. He can't do enough of it, and they're just throwing everything at him. And but he's got his own. He's made his own business out of it, and he's just got a major contract at the BBC. So he's doing very well.
What are the favourite things about Bermondsey?
Number one, without doubt, it's people. It's just way above anything else. The banter can be wicked, but funny, old funny, which you can't do a lot nowadays. So there's a lot of it's bottled up inside. The pubs and that back in the day were brilliant. You took your choice, mainly controlled by music. We like the music venues, you know, etc. Because I can see a lot of great bands in a time. But with Bermondsey, a couple of little short stories. Where I got the job over at Thompson Reuters, all the other people from in there, one come from Woodland, but mainly come from Essex. You had the contractors coming and I had to do their health and safety and risk assessments before they started work and all that, because it's very, very high health and safety. And as they walk in to the control room, they'd say 2 words, they go, Bermondsey? And they go, how the fuck do you know? The other ones, they go, how the I said, there's a difference, there's a difference. They go, shut up, he's a Cockney. I went, no, there's a little difference. And they go, well, what's the fucking difference? And I said, what you just done. You ain't got no class. See? And they all start laughing. I said, what are you talking about? I said, we're a bit more refined. We don't do the monkey, pony, donkey, fucking apples and pears shit. We laugh at people like that. We just don't do it. It's embarrassing. I said, but I know Cockney's changed nowadays, but we don't entertain it at all. So they'd do that. But the other thing is, what was the other one I was going to tell you?
What about the geezer you made out as the West Ham fan? Did it come on top of? Did he find out?
Yeah, he did later. Yeah, he did. Obviously, I couldn't keep tabs on it. I went over to Canteen one day. I think it was only a few months later. He went to me, "How are you getting on?" He's just put his tray down in front of me. I just sit with the workers, and he put the tray down, and he went, "How's things, all right?" And he just went. So I said, "What?" He said, "Listen, got the job." He said, "Got you the job." He said, "I don't think he got you the job. I just liked you from the time you walked through the door." I said, "Well, I want to thank you as well for a good interview and put me at ease, because I thought you were going to bombard me with technical crap and all you talked about was me." He said, "That's exactly what I want. I want people to turn up on time." He said, "Be honest, you're 10 minutes away, you've got your own car park." He said, "If I try to put myself in your position, would I want this? Was it all about money?" I said, "Listen, I'm fucked going to work 11, 12 hours a day, coming home knackered. All I want is my shift work. In a week, I can go fishing during the week, and I can fly through to Bermondsey and do fishing, and I can go football when I want to go football, and things like that, you know." I was managing teams at the time as well, you know. Yeah.
What's your favourite place in Bermondsey?
I would say Dickens estate. I'll go where they have my haircut down Jimmy's every couple of months, and I always get down there and have a little ride round.
What's that one? A non-dock head?
Spennos.
Oh right, yeah.
Spennos.
Yeah,
the three boys do it, don't they? Right next to
yeah,
Neil, right
yeah,
next to Neil, next to
shops.
Neil Cole's place, new place that he just moved along. And I always go in there, take some photos, because on social media I do a lot on old stuff, old historical stuff, you know. There's a lot of great sites about, as you know. And we've got a lot of banter going on, some fantastic things that come through today. Someone's asked, "What's your worst pub?" Everyone says the best pub in Bermondsey. What's the worst pub in Bermondsey? There's people coming, and someone said the Fellmonger straight away, and I thought it was someone trying to wind me up, right? Because it weren't no loveliest looking pub. But I just put on it, "You got to be pissed, mate." So it's as far as I want to go. Then other people come in with a laughy thing and all that. But I always just go round, look up at the flat where I was born, and you know, when we moved 100 yards again, 100 yards away in 1960, I was only 7, and I could just remember vividly my mum, because we had the tin bark on the back of the thing then, you had the kitchen table was a board that come down with them plastic cloths on it, you know, tablecloths, with just a knob of wood that held it up afterwards so they could, and we carried 4 chairs, no, a couple of chairs, a table, and she took a mangle. I remember a mangle being there, and we carried it across the road 100 yards and just put it in the flat. But as we got in there, which is a brand new flat, Tupman, as we got in there, my mum, I remember her looking round. She looked in the kitchen. I've got a proper kitchen, a bathroom, and she just looked round and she just broke her heart, my mum. My man went, "What's the matter with?" She went, "I can't believe it. We've got all this, you know." As I say, then a little bit later, got married, and so all through, we moved 100 yards there, across the road into a new flat, and moved back over to Pickwick on the same landing I was born on. And that's how it was then. That's how it was. That's why it was so tight knit. I don't do all this, you know, we left all the doors open. I don't have all that crap. Everyone looks after themselves, don't worry about that.
There's plenty of fucking burglaries.
Not many. But yeah.
What do you think's been your greatest achievement?
Daughter. I'd say as well is putting 25 years of my life into that Woodland just 50 yards away where we're sitting, and noticing just by see, with Bermondsey people, I've always said this, you can spot a wrong one a mile off. 9 times out of 10 I look at someone, I go, oh, it's alright, but then 9 times out of 10 Bermondsey people are right. There's something about you can spot a wrong one a mile off. And with what was he talking about?
Your greatest achievement.
Greatest achievements, yeah.
Sussing people out.
Yeah. Sussing people out. But yeah, that and the Woodland, and I could talk to you for 2 hours just about what was going on. We see developers over there offering council officers, planning officers, how we could move things in the Woodland that have been done on the London Docklands Development Corporation. We all know what happened then, back in them days. But from 1990, when it was all done, and these trees are there 60 foot tall, they was twigs, right? And to be honest, a lot of the small trees were being, people moved down here, they was digging them up and putting them in their gardens, right? It was funny, right? And I was told that they planted, LDDC planted twice as many trees they wanted to plant, but they knew a lot of them were going missing. That's what I was told. And I didn't like that sort of attitude. But with the developers, they was meeting over there all the time. They was trying to do a land swap between the farm and the land here that we fought against here. They wanted 15-storey tower block right on top of the duck pond. Our duck pond, that was outrageous. But they come in with a bid. But the two, I joined a group called the Downtown Defence Campaign back in the day to fight developers. We got all the way to the law courts, High Courts of Justice, in front of 4 law lords. They're little old us, but the top man on Barrett Homes that finally got the land, he said, if you don't come with us, after I said I'm leaving this group, they manipulated the group. There was I got into them first. Went out to Cambridge. We went out with a couple of mates. Went out to see them. They said we'll take it on pro bono. They used this environmental lawyers, but the Heathrow Airport expansion thing was on, and the Friends of the Earth was on doing too much of that. We wanted Friends of the Earth to do us, but they said we got friends in Cambridge, Richard Buxton's environmental consultants. So we went out to see them, and they loved it. They loved it. We said we'll take him on pro. You won't get pro bono. You won't get legal aid down. So it's finished. Right? You ain't got a chance. And the next time I see him, same bloke, was 3 years later. We held it up that long, costing them thousands, right, millions. Was in the High Courts of Justice. They had their barrister, Neil King QC, one of the biggest in the country. We had a publicly funded, what's that, right? We had a fight. He had a file like that. He walked in, Neil King QC, sat down with a wig on. He got 4 law lords in issues in Strand. 4 law lords. They came in, and as these come in and gone through, he had 10 people behind with great big cardboard boxes full of environmental, transport, all the bollocks, right? They walked through, and I waited. They said, "Can you come in?" I went, "Yeah, I'll be here." And in walked this fella from, what's his name? I went, "All right, how you going? How's things?" All right. His fucking face, he worked £1 million. So we went in. We never won, but we got major concessions. The main thing we went on was the community hall that we had, the downtown CRA hall, was 925 square metres in size. Bingo, all the thing. I've got some great photos of it, honestly. They wrecked that old doctor's surgery site over there. This terrible thing what the council done. But they went there. Where was I?
Right, they're all walking into court.
Yeah, we've done that in court.
Concessions.
We got it from 600. We got 35% social housing on there. We demanded, and that's what we got. We got car parking spaces, 60% car parking spaces over there, some of it underground. And the other concession was we got a 12.5 metre buffer zone between the duck pond, which we've got kingfishers down in there, in Rotherhithe, kingfishers. 12.5 metre buffer zone between the duck pond and the first block. That block there was going to be 15 stories, we got it down to 4. nothing went over above 4 stories, because you had this urban and suburban argument going on at the time for the Mayor of London. I think it might have been Livingston then. Yeah, might probably be. The argument going on that they designated down here as a suburban area, which is one little word, SUB. It's a massive word to a developer. They don't want it. They don't want that. Suburban, who's fucking come up with that idea? Suburban. This is urban, inner urban, central urban, 50 stories. Now, to this day, it's ironic that now the Canada Water Master Plan has stopped completely. All because they want to put in a Section 73 agreement that they want to build 10, 11, 12, 13 stories on top of the already 40, 45 stories. And this is the big player. 10% social affordable housing, down from 35%. Screaming and shouting, we want 50% social housing. Where are they now? When they're going to put it down to 10%, so people like Ellen, my daughter and all these others ain't going to have a chance in hell of living in the area. Where are you now? Why aren't you shouting now? And we'll sing the same hymn sheet. They're going to get away with that because obviously the council are the ones that sign. But there's 1,250 objections gone in. I've never heard anything. 100 objections is massive. 150 is unbelievable. 1,250 objections have gone in. Why? This is my opinion. I'm probably saying too much here. Because the people have already bought into their £2.5 million flats. They want the penthouse. Now all of a sudden they're going to have blocks of tower blocks going up now, 40 stories, they're going to be 55 stories. They ain't going to have that panoramic view of the Shard and the thing and all that going. So they've got lawyers. If you look at the planning applications, the objections that have gone in, these are proper objections. These ain't Joe Blogs going, I don't like the look of that, it looks crap. Why is it grey? Why is it not dark brown and all that going? These are proper. There's only 3 or 4 things that can stop development, and that's sunlight, daylight's a massive thing. The lack of affordable housing, of what's they're going to break all the rules, but the council are going to sign it off in, I reckon, early next year. But what we don't want, on the other hand, I'll be honest with you, I don't mind tall buildings, but if it's near the station and it's in an urban area, I've got no problem with it. But if it's already been established down there, which, you know, a lot of people can say, oh, at NIMBY, I love NIMBYs, because they've got a bit of bollocks in them, NIMBYs, you know. They want to fight for their area. No one gave us these places. We work 7 days a week, jumping on transport going out, you know, getting traffic jams, to pay the mortgage. Plus the other good thing, which is very important, is that the people, when we moved out of Pickwick to come here, we're freeing up a property down there for someone to move into that wants a 2 or 3 bedroom property. So in a way, we're doing a good thing in a way. But all this because we moved down and we bought our own property, that used to really grind me, I'll be honest with you. Because there was ordinary people that I knew every one of them, they're all grafters. You know, they all want to work and they deserve that little bit of thing. But it was freeing up their property as well on an estate, a great estate. Dickens estate is a brilliant estate. It looks fantastic at the moment. A lot of planting's gone in, a lot of work down there. Some councils down there have done some really good work, as far as I can see anyway. It's tidied right up. Not everyone will agree with that, but most of them will. Anyway, Mick, where are we?
Anything you'd like to add?
Well, you've got another 3 hours. I probably said miles too much. Miles too much on that.
Yeah, it's always better to have more than not enough.
Yeah.
So tell us how you got this house.
This house was 1982. In 81, me and Christine had gone. We was living in a lovely flat, 4 doors down where I was born. You couldn't ask for no better. Well built flats. But all the time she used to say to me, we don't even own the doorknobs on the thing, you know, with the rent's going up, the rates are going up. For what? I said, all right, what are you going to do? And all I was worried about really was, you know, going out weekends and having a drink with mates. But she kept on and on and on. And there was a flat going down, not far from where she used to live, where she was born, in Surrey Square. Georgian houses, it's a fantastic Georgian house. You go up the steps there, right near the school. And I went up there, looked and I said, love it, love it. But in the back of my mind, well, I want to move from Dockhead, you know. But anyway, put in the bid for it. Last minute, very last minute, we got gazumped. Someone's coming £3 extra. It's about 30k, I think. I thought, bollocks, that's it. No, I'm not interested now. And I come home after that. I was working at the House of the Parliament. I come home on my bike. We've done a lot of work in the House of Parliament. Come home on my bike, come in the door, Friday evening. She went, get yourself in the bike, go downtown. They're selling houses. I thought she was drunk. I said, what? She said, they're selling houses downtown. I said, no, you've got that wrong. She said, yeah, look, it's in the South London Press. I said, no, and she kept nagging me. She said, they're proper houses with gardens. I've heard a few rumours, people around here saying it's going to be good. I went, I ain't getting spun over again. Anyway, in the end, she won. Come down here, come down Brunel Road, over the bridge, near where Spice Island is now. And as I drove, I thought, what on earth? Everything was flattened, all of it. All the big sheds, the timber sheds and everything. Not how I knew it as a kid, you know. But couldn't see nothing. So I thought I was going to go back. And in the distance, I could see a couple of flags on top of a porter cabin. I thought, that's got to be it, surely. Anyway, picked the bike up because you couldn't go because of the mud. Went over there, 2 women come out of the porter cabin, done up like red coats with the white pleated skirts and the thing. And I said, all right, girls. I said, where's these houses being sold? They went, yeah, Broseley Homes, see the flag on the top? I went, who are they? Where's the houses? I weren't built them yet. I said, so what am I buying? They said, hold on, before you start, mate, where do you live? I thought, oh. I said, down the road there. She went, whereabouts exactly? There's a map on the table. So I pointed it out, Dickens Estate, Pickwick House. So she went, oh, you won the lottery. She said, you won the lottery, mate. I said, what? She said, his house is being built down here by Broseley Homes. The planning application's all going through by the end, LDDC, blah, 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 blah. Out the back there's going to be a woodland with ponds and all that. I said, no, it can't be right. It's got to be right. She said, it's all going to be fantastic. It's going to change dramatically, but you have won the lottery. I said, all right, listen, when do you sell them? She said, tomorrow morning. I went, oh. So I said, okay, tomorrow morning, I'll be here at 8 o'clock. She said, well, there's all the people outside in the queue. I said, this can't be serious. She went, they're out. She's opened the shutter windows, and my mate, all mates, we all come to Dickens, all you had to have was a rent book, right? So I said, there's my rent book. She went, boom, lovely. She said, my mate said, go and get yourself a car, pull up here. We're clipping all through the night. It's going to be the bollocks down there. So I said, oh, fucking hell, I want to go out and the filmmakers, right? So I waited, got the car, sat in the car all night. There was fights in the queue in the next morning, people trying to jump in. The lady turned round and said, she said, all right, in you come. Goes in there. So what we done? She said, but I'm thinking about the sun coming round. She said, with £100 deposit. I went, oh, I said, no, you get it back. Don't worry about that, you get it back. But if you want to go and see what you're buying, you go to Abbey Wood where we've already built them. I thought, where's Abbey Wood? So she's gone, bump. So I went, and I'm thinking, sun comes round. I thought, south face. I said, this one here. She said, that's a 2-bedroom, that costs blah, 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 blah. And then she said, said to me the words, even if a millionaire turns up, they don't get in front of you. I thought, oh, fucking hell. So that was that. We picked the plot, they started building it, and from that day we've never looked back. But everybody that moved in down, they all come from firstly the Dickens Estate. We used to have parties in the street every other week. It was like living in a dream. They was building the woodland, we'd see the trees getting bigger, you'd see the waterfalls going in, and the ponds and the ducks. I thought we're living in the countryside in the middle of Rotherhithe. I can't believe it. So that was that. But what I said to you earlier, the big change I've seen, actually physically see it, so this is not anecdotal, was the people that bought them houses, a lot of them, after 4 or 5 years, they've over doubled in price, and they took the opportunity with their kids now, probably just had babies as well, you know, a lot of them did, to buy their place outright on the profit of the house they had bought out in Bexley and Sidcup and things like that. So they took that opportunity, and they went out there. And but the people that moved in, who bought the properties, obviously they can't many everywhere because it's on the open market. They bought to rent, not to live in, and that was when everything started going downhill again. You could see it, and they were renting them out. So you never had a neighbour. You had a neighbour for a year, but it could be anybody, and they'd be in there. And after a year, the leaseholder would at least they'd send it off and send them off, get someone else in. And we got by, but you could see it weren't, you're not going to have utopia forever, but you see the change in it. But now, all of a sudden, after nearly 40 years, over 40 years, you're starting to get people to buy, it's too expensive, it's ridiculous. I know that my daughter just bought a property, it's supposed to be affordable, and it's for 520 grand, right? 1 bedroom flat, overlooking the Woodlands. It's a fantastic flat. It's fantastic, but she now wants to move out because they're doing well. They're born and bred round there. They've done well. All the building is going to go on down. It's come to a halt now. They're worried about this. That could all be a white elephant down there. That's the last thing we want. You know, I'm staying there forever. Don't worry about that. But I've had people say to me, well, you've done all right. I said, well, my place ain't worth a penny. Why is that? I said, because I ain't moving nowhere. I'm staying here. So forget about what it's worth. I don't care. I could have moved years and years ago, but I'm staying here because it suits my lifestyle. I like the people that I'm around, and I don't want to move 20 mile out and start going to work at the time with a great job over the road. Why would I want to move on that? I'm there in 10 minutes. And start getting in, you know, with the congestion charges and all that, everyone's moaning about it. So that was a physical change that I've actually seen, witnessed over. It's a slow period, but I've seen it. So, but now I've got proper neighbours next door now, rather than it being rented out. That have got kids, and the other side is exactly the same. You've got different nationalities down here, people that have bought their different properties. And everyone gets on well, but it's very quiet down there, very, very quiet, which as you get older you like. But when I was young, I liked to be a kid running out, kicking the ball and painting a wicket on the wall with an old cricket bat and all things like that. But you don't get that. It's very quiet. You ain't got to go far to witness all that. But let's hope they get that right down the road. Canada Water Master Plan. We had a forum for 20 odd years of people sitting on the forum. I was part of that forum, and we've had the developers there, we've had councillors there, and there's a lot of good people around here, mainly environmental type people that want to look after what we've got. But when it comes to planning agreements and all that, I've seen some really horrible people, two-faced, horrible people, without going into anything, that have been doing snide stuff behind the scenes to make this thing they got out now about they won't have. I can remember a councillor down there saying to me about the social affordable housing on the same landing as someone from North Peckham Estate. I said, listen, how much do you want to control people by? Do you want to control everything? Or is the open market only for people that can afford it and everyone else moves out? So if it was just about now, I could tell myself, I told you, see, this is what's going on. And because of Grenfell now, they've got to have two staircases in every block of flats. That's what the developers are saying. They're saying that that's the reason. That's a loss to them of the agreement they had 5 years ago when they got the agreement to have them. It's floor space, right? This is how they think you're mugs. They think it's floor space, and we've got to recoup our money. So we want to put another 13 stories on top of the 45-story tower block Right. Now, when I went to the exhibition after that consultation, I asked the developers' representatives, straightforward question, who made the equation that the lack of floor space for another staircase equates to another 13 stories on top of that luxury block? So they said, well, Steve, it's very straightforward. I said, well, tell me then. Go on, I'm all ears. Then she called over something. She said, I'll let her call over, John. You know, you're a bit on the nerve, yeah. So over he come. Yeah, what it is, Mr. Cornish, is what it is. That's £100 per square foot, and blah. I said, look, let's be honest here. You're trying to say it to these people. When I go to these meetings they have, I like to listen to people before I start talking and see what all new people are saying, asking the questions. So I said, the question I'll ask again is very straightforward. Who made that equation and how did it come about? And he said, well, what is your sort of problem since you got a problem with? I said, well, I'll tell you what it is then. It's because you're equating, say, £100 per square foot on a flat that's on the ground floor, for argument's sake, and on the 40th floor, it's £800 per square foot. Rough equation. He went, well, yeah. I said, okay. So you want to build on top of the already 40 stories and make it 55 stories. So how do you equate? You're trying to say, I've heard you speaking to other people as if that per square foot loss equates to, I said it don't, does it? Because that one flat on one of those penthouses equates to 5 affordable flats. I said, it's very straightforward, it's not rocket science, but you still ain't answered the question, have you? You ain't answered. And he said, well, perhaps if we can come back and I said, listen, forget it. I want it to go through now. Right? All people want it to, now, all of a sudden, within that time frame, they're not over there. You go over there now, instead of 150 blokes all working in plastering, bricklaying, all that lot, there's a bloke with a shovel and I think corner's virtually folding up, that new restaurant thing. The swimming pool's is virtually closed. They want to build on 7 islands, where 7 islands is. That's going to come down, obviously. And we're trying to save the, you know, the big sign outside, massive, outside 7 islands, overlooking the lower road. Me and my mate have put in for that, and it's gone really well with the council. We want it put in Sower Park rather than be smashed up, and everyone's for it. And they've come back, the decision makers at the council. This is as high as Stephen Platts, who's very high in the council. They'll like it. They like it. So do the developers.
Yeah. It's a, why smash it up if it could be easy kind of moved and kept?
Yeah. 2 things are in the pipeline, rather than what we've already been over. This got to be kept secret, this first one.
Don't put it on the film then.
Woodland. Yeah. Well,
yeah, don't say it. Well,
do you edit it, don't you? Or not?
Yeah, but I might forget what's. Yeah.
Well,
why put it on there?
Just to let you know that things are happening.
Well, go on. When I switch the camera off, you can tell me.
Yeah, all right
then. Yeah. So, anything else that might be useful?
Just some of the groups. You're saying the things to be proud of. There's quite a few. Victoria, obviously, was one, the main one, and the Downtown Defence Campaign that we set up and fought against the developers.